You know that woman who walks into a room and everyone notices? Not because she's screaming for attention, but because there's something about her that simply draws eyes. Well, it's not luck, it's not genetics, and it's definitely not about being the prettiest in the room. It's about 5 micro habits so subtle that most people don't even realize they're doing them. I'm Carol. I'm 40 years old, and I'll tell you a secret. I wasn't born magnetic. Quite the opposite. When I was a kid, my mother practically had to bribe my teachers to get me to open my mouth in class. I was that girl who stood in the corner at parties waiting for someone to come talk to me. And look, if you're thinking, but Carol, you seem so confident. Well, that's exactly proof that these small changes work. If you want to learn how to make this magnetic impression without looking like you're trying too hard, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a like. Because what I'm going to share here will put you several steps above those who are still stuck in behaviors that make them invisible. So, let's get straight to the point. First micro habit, the name echo. Are you trying to be interesting or to be remembered? Here's where most of us stumble. We get so caught up in our nerves or what we're going to say next that the other person walks away thinking, okay, nice, but forgettable. What changes this entire dynamic is one of the simplest tricks I've ever learned. It's subtle, powerful, and makes people feel instantly important. Magnetic people make other people feel seen. And one of the simplest ways to do this is to use their name naturally in conversation. Not excessively, just naturally. There's neuroscience behind this. Hearing your own name activates unique regions in the brain. It's like a small dose of dopamine. People light up when they hear their names, even if they don't show it on the outside. The micro habit. When you meet someone, use their name 3 times. Once when greeting, once naturally in the middle of the conversation, and once when saying goodbye. That's it. And I promise this works even if you're terrible at remembering names. Honestly, that was me. I'd forget someone's name 5 seconds after being introduced, which is embarrassing. But forcing myself to use the name immediately made me much better at actually remembering. A few years ago, I attended a super elegant event. Rooftop terrace, pool, the sun setting on the horizon. Some big names were there. It could have been very intimidating. I didn't know a single person personally. But that night, as I circulated, I made a point of practicing this name echo habit, and it worked. People relaxed, opened up, and it wasn't just empty talk. Those small connections turned into real relationships. Now, quick warning, don't overdo it. We all know that person who's like, "So, Carol, what brings you here, Carol? And tell me, Carol, that's not magnetic." It's creepy, but used lightly, naturally, this micro habit makes people feel seen, and that's unforgettable. A woman who speaks little and observes much isn't shy. She's strategic, and strategy has always been one of the greatest luxuries. Second micro habit, the golden 2 seconds. Do you position yourself in a conversation circle like someone waiting to be called on, or like someone who already knows they'll be heard? When you're talking to someone, how many seconds do you maintain eye contact? If you're like most people, you probably look away every 2 or 3 seconds. And there's the problem. Researchers have found that people who maintain eye contact about 60 to 70% of the time are perceived as more confident, more likable, and even more trustworthy. But here's the game-changing trick. When you greet someone or are in a conversation, hold eye contact for just 2 seconds longer than feels natural. That's it. And no, I'm not asking you to do that psycho stare from horror movies. It's just about being present, showing that the person in front of you deserves your complete attention for those extra 2 seconds. I tested this in a super common place, ordering coffee. I maintained eye contact a little longer with the barista and, man, her smile got bigger right away. The whole energy changed. It was small, but it made me realize how much this alters the vibe of any interaction. When I taught at the university, I noticed the same thing with students. If I sat down, looked into their eyes for just one more moment, their shoulders would relax. They felt important, and it only took an extra 2 seconds. Here's the contrast you need to understand. The woman who looks away quickly conveys insecurity, discomfort, hurry. It's the language of someone apologizing for existing. The magnetic woman? She looks at you like you're the only person in the room at that moment, not because she's evaluating you, but because she's genuinely present. And presence, my dear, has always been one of the greatest luxuries. Third micro habit, the posture reset. Does your body arrive before you or sabotage you in the first impression? Here's an inconvenient truth. Before you even open your mouth, your body has already introduced you, and most of us are sending completely wrong signals without even realizing it. I used to walk into a room with hunched shoulders, crossed arms, trying to make myself invisible, and of course, people responded to me exactly like that. Quiet, reserved, forgettable. It wasn't until I made this small adjustment that everything changed. Magnetic people don't shrink, they expand. They're not showing off, they're just sending the signal. I belong in this place. An elegant woman never enters an environment apologizing for existing. She enters as if she were already expected. There's no rush, no stiffness, just the body language of someone who knows. The world respects those who respect themselves first. Science proves this. You've probably heard of the Harvard study on power poses, Amy Cuddy's work. The long-term effects are debated, but the truth is that, in the short term, posture absolutely influences how others see you, and more importantly, it influences how you feel. The micro-habit? When you enter a room or sit with someone, do a check-in with your body. Uncross your arms, relax your shoulders, lean your torso toward the person in front of you. It's like a 1-second reset button. I remember going to a huge event a few years ago. I didn't know anyone, but I made the choice to enter as if I belonged there. Not as if I were the most important person in the room, not pretending, but just head up, shoulders back, open to connection. And the difference was night and day. I met tons of interesting people. That day taught me, when your body says, I belong here, people feel it and respond completely differently. Here's what separates the high-level woman from the woman who's trying too hard. One arrives relaxed, the other arrives rigid. One occupies space naturally, the other hides. And this has nothing to do with body size or height. It has to do with how you inhabit the space that's already yours. Fourth micro-habit, the micro-pause. So, once you start using someone's name naturally and effortlessly, people feel seen and remember you. But here's the problem. If you seem nervous or rushed, all that connection can slip through your fingers. And that was me for years. I'd stumble over words, fill every silence with nervous chatter, and leave thinking, why did I just ramble like that? The change happened when I learned a very different habit. Some of the highest pressure situations you can imagine. And it comes down to something so simple, yet so powerful, the micro-pause. Magnetic people don't rush. They don't struggle for words or fill every sentence with nervous chatter. They pause. They let their words land. Olivia Palermo did this in interviews. She never rushed to fill the space between a question and her answer. There was always that second of breath, that moment where you saw she was thinking, choosing her words. And the result? Everything she said seemed more important, more considered, more her. And the pause is powerful. Communication researchers have found that people who pause, even briefly, are perceived as more thoughtful, more authoritative, and more charismatic. Think of Steve Jobs during those legendary Apple presentations. He'd make a bold statement and then just let it hang there. That space is what made people lean forward and pay attention. So here's your micro habit. Before answering a question or after making a point, breathe. Just one beat. Smile if you want. Let your words have space to land. Because confidence isn't about speaking faster or saying more. It's about showing you're not in a hurry to prove yourself. The woman who fills every space with words seems anxious. The woman who allows pauses seems powerful. It's a subtle difference, but absolutely devastating in terms of impression. Fifth micro habit, the curiosity spark. Once you learn to pause, to let your words breathe, people see you as calm, confident, and balanced. But here's the thing. Being magnetic isn't just about how you appear. It's also about how you make other people feel. And if there's one mistake I see over and over, it's this. People try to be interesting instead of being interested. They think they need the perfect story or the clever line when, in reality, the fastest way to be magnetic is to reverse the focus. If there's one thing that instantly makes you magnetic, it's this: showing genuine curiosity about other people. Because here's the truth. Most of us are walking around wanting to be seen, wanting someone to care enough to ask a real question. And the research is clear on this. Harvard Business Review published a study showing that people who ask follow-up questions, not just one, but thoughtful follow-ups, are rated as more likable and more competent. In other words, curiosity makes you charismatic. So here's the micro habit. When someone tells you something, ask a simple follow-up question that goes just a little deeper. Instead of "how's work?" and moving on, ask, "What's been the most exciting part of your work lately?" Instead of "where are you from?" try, "What do you love most about living there?" And honestly, this is something I use all the time. It's like a secret weapon when you're not sure how to drive a conversation. I've used it at parties, business events, conferences, dinners, countless places, and it never fails. It takes the pressure off you having to be dazzling because you're giving the other person the gift of being heard. And here's the beautiful part. When you show curiosity about others, they almost always reciprocate. They want to know about you, your work, your story. That's how relationships and opportunities begin. Bottom line, being magnetic isn't about impressing people with how interesting you are. It's about showing them how interesting they are. The woman who monopolizes the conversation is forgotten the next day. The woman who asks good questions is remembered for months. And often, she's the one who gets the call, the invitation, the opportunity. Look, if you're realizing that these micro habits are about much more than just techniques, you're right. It's about understanding the codes that sophisticated women use every day. And if you want to master not just behavior, but also the appearance that communicates wealth and refinement, I created something special for you. It's my course, Look Rich Without Spending Much, where I teach you exactly what the visual, behavioral, and social codes are that wealthy women use, and that you can apply today without spending fortunes. Because the truth is this, sophistication isn't about how much you spend, it's about knowing what to choose and how to use it. And when you master these codes, the way people see you and treat you changes completely. I have a launch promotional price that won't last, so if you want to be treated with more respect, open doors that previously seemed closed, and finally understand what separates women who look rich from women who are just well-dressed, the link is in the description. Take advantage now. Recapping what we learned today. Let me do a quick review of what we covered here, because each of these micro habits may seem small on its own, but together, they create a complete transformation in how you're perceived. First micro habit, the golden 2 seconds. Hold eye contact just 2 seconds longer than feels natural. It's not about intimidating, it's about being present and making the other person feel they matter in that moment. Second micro habit, the posture reset. Uncross your arms, relax your shoulders, lean slightly toward the person you're talking to. Your body should say, I belong here, before you even open your mouth. Third micro habit, the name echo. Use the person's name 3 times during the interaction. In the greeting, naturally in the middle of the conversation, and in the goodbye. It's pure neuroscience and makes people feel truly seen. Fourth micro habit, the micro pause. Before answering a question or after making an important point, pause. Breathe. Let your words have weight. Women who pause seem powerful. Women who fill every space seem anxious. Fifth micro habit, the curiosity spark. Ask follow-up questions that go a little deeper. Show genuine interest. Being interested is infinitely more magnetic than trying to be interesting. Now, remember where I started? The girl who never raised her hand in class. The one everyone called so quiet. If I could go from that to walking into rooms full of strangers and genuinely enjoying myself, if I could go from invisible to magnetic, you can too. You don't need to change who you are. These small habits simply amplify the best version of you that already exists. And look, these are just the first steps. If you want to keep climbing with strategy, elegance, and the right references, the Members Club has its doors discreetly open for you. It's only $4.99 per month, and it's a way for you to support this channel and have access to exclusive content I don't share anywhere else. Just click the Become a Member button below. And before you go, I have one more thing. I just launched my digital book, Elegant Portraits with AI, with 100 exclusive prompts to transform your photos into professional and sophisticated portraits. You know those profile pictures that make you look like a CEO and executive, someone people take seriously? That's exactly what these prompts create. And when your image conveys sophistication, doors open in ways you can't even imagine. I have a launch promotional price, so take advantage while you can. The link is in the description. Now tell me, which of these micro habits do you most need to put into practice? And if you liked this video, comment below. Presence is luxury. I want to know how many of you really understood the message. See you in the next video, and remember, elegance never shouts. It whispers, and the whole world falls silent to listen.